Origin just almost reaction. This is there are thousands of alien empires in the Milky Way. But in a nutshell. Yes, another space slash alien video. Yeah, he's been making that a lot, so that's good. Always like videos when videos like this is there. I guess this is gonna be speculative type of video. I'm guessing based on this whatever science we already have. There's not much of anything to go by when we talk about aliens, right? Fermi paradox and things like that is the only thing we have to think about. But even those are like, okay, if this is true, then this must be true. Like a lot of leeways are taken there. But yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting video. Yeah, I like Kurzgesagt. I've been watching Kurzgesagt videos a lot. So if you haven't seen the reaction, check out the link in the description. There you'll find it. And yeah, let's do it.
What if there are thousands of alien empires in the Milky Way, each spanning a few to maybe tens of star systems, chatting, trading, sometimes shooting or ignoring each other politely? And if so, why is nobody visiting us? While the Milky Way is ancient and gigantic, even traveling at 10% the speed of light, any civilization could take over the whole galaxy within a million years. But we haven't seen anybody yet. So it seems we're alone in the Milky Way. But this idea is built on a lot of assumptions.
Yeah, I was about to say that, like, whenever people talk about this using certain hypotheses here and there, it's just like you're taking a lot of leeways, man. But there's many elements to it. Many logistical issues might be there. We're just assuming, like, okay, they have free energy, sure. There was a time where people thought, like a century or two ago, we're going to have free energy in the future. No, that's not what happened. We have free information, not free energy. We have internet, free information, everything. Free energy, we're still trying to think like, oh, fusion. We made, more advancement in fusion and things. We're going to have free energy. But there's many things goes in the background. There's just not just easy. People can make a lot of like future predictions, but really don't think about certain things that go in the background, right? So there might be a lot of logistical issues, resources issues, maybe like their biological limitation, who knows? But just saying like, they have resources, 10% of, speed of light, why are they not here? Yeah, not necessarily, right? There might be a lot of things going on there. And anyway, our radio waves have gone like, few light years. Is like basically, screaming from your home. So one or two of your neighbors can hear you in the big city or something, right? Yeah, our signal hasn't reached anyone. So someone has specifically aimed for us, right? And saying like, if aliens are spreading through galaxy, they will spread everywhere. Again, that takes a lot of assumptions.
Usually, when scientists speculate where all the alien civilizations are, they assume technology will progress to a point where colonizing all of space becomes kind of easy.
Yeah.
But what if we're thinking about this the wrong way? What if the universe is full of life, but no matter how technologically advanced you are, space is never easy? What if aliens slowly crawl through space, expanding like humans did over the ocean? Let's look at the only data point we have. Ourselves.
That is what I liked about the recent TV show, The Three Body Problem, right? They were talking about these aliens who's like technology advanced in a way, but they still don't have, like, they're still taking time to come here, like a long time. They're not just instantly here type of way, right? They're like kind of faster compared to just like few hundreds years or something, but still they're not like, okay, we have technology, then in a year we'll be there. At least that was good.
Available real estate in the galaxy. Oceania is a region with tens of thousands of islands scattered across millions of square kilometers, separated by an unforgiving, deadly sea. Kind of like a galaxy. Some 5,000 years ago, the first people set out to colonize Oceania. Especially the Polynesians achieved mind-blowing feats. Without any modern technology, they set out into the vast nothingness, hoping to find a new island to claim, or, like, die, far from home.
Insane.
But most of the Pacific Islands are merely a few wet rocks or corals, maybe some palm trees, and if you're lucky, birds making a pit stop. Others with more vegetation are often hostile, lacking the resources to really sustain a lot of people, and remain uninhabited even today. And then there are the good islands. The Polynesians colonized them, spreading their culture and society to dozens of remote islands of all sizes. Some united in kingdoms spanning many islands, others were independent, many home to competing and belligerent tribes. And although thousands of kilometers apart, even the most remote islands were connected with at least some trade and exchange.
Yeah, can you imagine just like sailing like that in Pacific Ocean? That is insanity, right? Especially back then with those type of boats, right? With sharks, God knows what, orcas, and like intelligent sea creatures that knows how to basically like rock your boat and basically like flip you over and all that. Too many dangers, right? Storm comes. I mean, they didn't know weather data back then. They didn't know GPS, so everything takes balls, right? When you really think about it. It just panics me when I really process that, like, okay, I'm there, I'm doing this, what the fuck, I'm not doing that. So I would not be the people who just like set sail, that's for damn sure.
Exchange, a microcosm of humanity, but it didn't always work out. The extremely isolated Pitcairn Islands were settled for hundreds of years and relied on trade with each other and bigger islands hundreds of kilometers away. And then the local population vanished. We don't know why. Maybe because the islanders did the human thing and ravaged the natural resources until they became unsustainable. Maybe the decline on distant bigger islands severed important connections. We only know their culture declined and they left or died out. What if space is an ocean to us? A hostile place that's hard to conquer? Would alien civilizations spread like the Polynesians? The universe is kind of a...
Yeah, that is what I think. This is why I like first Mass Effect games. People hated that, like, oh, there's not much to do on the planets. That's the point. Those are like empty planets. What you want to do there? Like one base here and like that. That was the story. There's a one base there. You're doing something. There's not going to be metropolitan cities everywhere and like animal kingdom everywhere. Most planets are empty like that.
horrible place. The Milky Way has around 200 billion star systems, and it seems that almost all of them have planets. Estimates vary, but there may be some 300 million to tens of billions of rocky Earth-like planets in the habitable zone around a star where water can be liquid. Amazing. Except that most of them are terrible. Hells of lava, dead frozen worlds, bare rocks sterile from radiation, blanked by toxic atmospheres. It's easy to forget, but Venus and Mars are Earth-like too. Mars is the next human frontier and fairly exciting. But Mars dust is poison, and deadly radiation and low gravity will make you sick. Mars is the worst. Except...
Yeah, Venus is like a hellscape with all the global warming and thing, right? And Mars, there is no magnetic field. Like, how the fuck anything gonna survive there? Like, okay, the current plan is like hide in the craters. Like, really, that's the life?
Venus is even worse, crushing you to death, burning and dissolving you in acid. If humanity was really motivated and had the resources and energy, both could be terraformed within maybe 1,000 years. We showed how in other videos. But the thing is, we already have a planet that's pretty great, so currently humanity's motivation is not very strong. Now let's think about this in terms of galactic expansion. If the Milky Way is like a vast ocean full of islands, most are planets like Mars and Venus, barren rocks or corals where nothing grows and the elements kill you. Imagine boarding a generation ship to travel for 100 years or more, only to arrive at a new star and then you get a Mars, or worse, a Venus. What a letdown. Terraforming them is such an intense investment in terms of resources to make it worth spending the time to travel to the stars for bad planets. Maybe the simple reason we don't see galaxy-spanning civilizations is that the economics just don't add up for almost all of the star systems out there. But wait, you might say...
Yeah, see, again, I go back to Mass Effect, but this time Andromeda. People hated Mass Effect Andromeda, but I like certain things that it did, right? So before we set sail for Andromeda, we scan a planet, there's nothing there, right? So no intelligent life in that way. Then we actually, when we get there, we realize that there was an already ancient now, but not ancient when we left because the light, wasn't there. And even, I'm pretty sure, not just light, but because it takes such a long time to get there, there was no, alien species or something there at that level. But then we realize there's remnant, technology and remnant species that is now extinct there. But that wasn't there before we set sail for that planet. So shit like that could happen as well, right? Like we can see a planet, oh, it's a great planet, this and that. Maybe there's aliens there, maybe not. Maybe it's like simple animals. We set sail, we realize it's been a long time. Planet either is fucked or a new intelligent species there waiting for us something. So just setting sail to somewhere is like insane.
It's actually easy. A high-tech race with unlimited resources could automate this process, sending thinking machines that report back every few thousand years with new planets ready for fresh settlers, or automated ships with embryos. But if it were that easy, someone would have done it by now.
Yeah, it's just
So
easy. It's in
either
the paper.
we are really alone, or it's not easy. Thinking about alien civilizations, you need to make loads of assumptions. And for this video, we're assuming that space is hard even for high-tech civilizations that have broken free from the limitations we have today. Now, things are getting exciting. So
But common sense says it must be hard, because whenever we try to achieve something at larger scale, there is always something we don't take into account and realize like it's not that easy. There are certain things we haven't seen, certain things we didn't take into equation and things like that. So on paper, when you just simplify things like, okay, it makes sense. On theory, it makes sense. A lot of other problems, logistical problem comes up when you're really trying to do something. So, Fermi paradox, but obviously just like is great, all the things it says. But to me, it always felt like it's not that easy. Even if there are aliens out there, it's not just easy to doesn't matter how technology advanced you get, it's not just easy to try to colonize space or find someone. Even if they did colonize space, maybe they missed our solar system or something, right? And knowing how small we are compared to everything, it's kind of easy.
what if alien civilizations actually ignore the bad islands and just pick the very best? Stringing together island empires like the Polynesians. Thousands of galactic empires. Every star moves in its own orbit through the galaxy, and most stellar neighborhoods are only temporary. At any given time, in some regions there will be more good islands than in others, while simply because of bad luck, other regions will be pretty isolated. Earth might currently be in one of these backwaters, surrounded by really bad islands for dozens of light years in all directions. We may be Pitcairn Island, so isolated that nobody knows we're here or cares to establish a colony so remote. But elsewhere in the Milky Way, good islands may be more common. There it would be relatively easy for a high-tech civilization to jump from one good star system to the next, creating connected empires. Strings of worlds, with all the adventure and challenges of expansion, even to really good planets.
I mean, I don't know about that when it comes to space. Like, if you can travel, let's just say few thousand light year, right? If you can travel that type of distance, even if the distance is 10 folds now, you can probably do that, because you can do that distance, right? Question is where how can you do 100 light years? Can you do 1,000 light years? Can you do 10,000 light years? If you can do those numbers, anything more than that is yeah, it doesn't matter. 10,000, 100,000, eventually you can do it. But yeah, there might be a point of why, right? Like you said, if you're isolated, even if there's something there, all these resources to spend just to get there, what's the point type of way? We're doing fine. A lot of things to go around, so maybe.
Do they need to animate dead
They'll sit
worlds
out
with
there and
oceans?
everything.
How do they cope with alien microorganisms or strange ecosystems? Do they need to burn it all down and create a mirror of their home world, or do they adapt? How many centuries do they need to make a planet truly their home? Empires expanding in regions full of good islands would probably meet each other. Maybe they trade, maybe they fight, maybe they have coffee and chat
Maybe
about the
both.
meaning of it all. And just like some of the Polynesian islands, it's likely that many of these planets would be abandoned or for the empires to break apart for a number of reasons. First of all, most great neighborhoods would dissolve over time and connected islands would become remote. Then it just may be the nature of civilization to become unsustainable or self-destructive. Humanity is extremely young, and we've already flirted with extinction. There are numerous existential risks, cultural, technological, and environmental, that any civilization has to deal with.
Seriously, I always said okay, in the scale of how technologically advanced we are, we might be very early, but when it comes to atomic bombs, yeah, that is also fundamental in a way, but still that's powerful, right? Einstein came and here's your atomic bomb, go kill yourself. There you go. That's where we are right now. That's insane, right? In any scenario, right? Whenever I talk about it, people are okay, but aliens will have defenses against nuke and things. Yeah, sure, but how much defenses, right? If we fight an alien much technologically advanced than us, and there is many elements people can think of where they can just fuck with us, like how they saw it in three body problem, right? Basically, obviously that's also fiction, but still, there could be many things. But just point blank physical attack, right? Nukes are powerful, right? If we develop tons of nukes and just throw at them, some of them are gonna hit, and some of them are gonna be devastating. It's nuke. So nukes, when we developed nuke, that was like a big leap for us. And I would argue we're still not technologically advanced enough to like match that level of things. Nuke is still a bit too much for us, right? That's why we are afraid of all the time about nuke, right? We can't really like have stable fusion for like, doing things like free energy and things, right? So yeah, just nuclear bombs and nuke just in general is like it's a bit of a leap for us.
And smaller colonies on new planets would likely be less resilient than their home worlds and in bigger danger of dying out. Whenever this happens, this would leave a good island free again for others to rediscover and colonize. It's free real estate. Also, space is just a different ballpark. The enormous distances between stars make it hard to maintain a consistent civilization. Just think about how many cultures we have on Earth alone. Imagine if sending a message between continents took decades to arrive. Would colonies care what the home world wants from them if it can neither help nor really enforce its will on them? This also would make interstellar war, except the genocidal kind, completely uneconomic.
Yeah.
Would you go to war with someone because their great-grandfather killed yours? At these distances, it's not like anyone could easily sneak up on each other anyway. And on a much more fundamental
Yeah, but what if these people all have these aliens have photographic memories where they don't forget shit at all, right? We have instances of animals in here like crows and even elephants who remembers things for a long time and try to act on it, right? What if there is some kind of like a genetic thing passed along that just remember things? That could be brutal, right? That's literally generational fight that's never going to end.
level, if island empires don't exchange relevant amounts of genetic information, if there are no hookups between worlds, sooner or later, these populations will develop in different directions and eventually become different species, making it less likely that they'll want to be under common rule. So the idea of enormously big connected empires may just not be feasible if the galaxy is an ocean where good islands are few and far between. But this also means that new civilizations may pop up constantly, spread and partially or completely die out, even if just by splitting into different factions. Islands may be recolonized and abandoned over and over. What would this mean for us? We might think we're alone only because we're on an isolated island right now. But there could be thousands of worlds full of diverse civilizations elsewhere that we would eventually drift closer to. Does this make the Milky Way more scary or less scary? Is it a good thing that we'd have time to get our act together before we face anyone else? Or is it a great tragedy that we might not have the chance to meet our neighbors beyond for a long, long time? Well, we don't know, but it is something for you to ponder tonight when you look up at the sky again. Hopefully, humanity is still at the beginning, and we're learning a tiny bit more about the universe every day. One day, we might spot a good island, and, if we're lucky, many more close by.
Enough anxiety going around.
One huge problem we face as a species is that we can't agree on what.
Yeah, well, go to ground.news process, nutshell, and support this channel, or go to original video page link. Yeah, okay. See, our biggest thing that we humans have, I don't know what other words to use without triggering people, is that we think we'll know things. Like, we'll know why. A lot of scientists, even today, especially like string theories, and people are really pondering this. Humans might have limitation, even collectively, the way we pass along our knowledge and we grow from there. We might have limitation where we might not know everything. We might hit a wall that beyond that we'll never know certain things in science and everything, right? So same thing goes back as well. Like, how far back can we see? Like, we might not know. So, our thing of thinking like we can just know it. There will be answer. There will be a question. No, we might hit a wall. We might hit a limitation. Are there aliens there? We might never know. That's the thing. We might never know, right? Either humanity would die out or not, or go with some other planet in the future. But even then, it's like space is so big, we might never know, right? aliens might stay just far away from us, deliberately or not, that we as species might never know. That's the thing, right? Before we die out or whatever. So I don't know. Are there alien empires? Everything that talks about alien or what is realistic or not, based on what we have, takes a lot of leeways because we only have fundamentals, right? You can't just have like base things and from there you like make predictions, complicated predictions. So obviously all these predictions are going to be either like really wrong or really right. We'll never know, I guess. That's what Fermi paradox talks about. Fermi paradox is great because it tries to stay at the like base of things, like try to think of something and just like, okay, without going too complicated, this might be the reason, which is like interesting. But yeah, about alien empires, alien civilization, who knows, like that must be, I don't know. Only commonsensical thing comes from this, like, if you know any basic science, you would know like, okay, this many planets, this many stars, there must be life somewhere. We can't be unique. If we are unique, that's panicky scenario, like why are we unique? Then you think about it even more, right? So there must be aliens. Are they intelligent? Can they get? Who the fuck knows? Right, well, there are thousands of alien empires in the Milky Way by Kurzgesagt in a nutshell. If you like my subscribe, and I'll see you next time.